Hey guys, so I'm going to show you how I make my chaffles. I'm doing two different kinds. The first kind is going to be pickle, everything but the bagel, and sharp cheddar cheese. The second kind is going to be vanilla protein and Lily's dark chocolate. So I have my dash heating up now and pre-measured out the cheese. So I did a half a cup of the Wisconsin sharp cheddar and then a half a cup of the Fiesta blend from Walmart. So it's already pre-shredded. So we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so now I am going to stir in the 2 eggs. And just try and get all the cheese kind of saturated there. I am just going to add a dash of heavy cream just to kind of make it a little bit more creamy. So I didn't measure that, but we'll say that's 2 tablespoons. And sorry, my phone's dying, so the flash went off. So the lighting's not the best in here. Then going to add everything but the bagel. Got this at Sam's Club. Just going to generously sprinkle that in. Stir that up. Alright, and now I'm going to add some pickles. Sam's Club, we love pickles, so we buy the big one. Okay, so I added 10 small bread and butter pickles. This should yield about 3 chaffles, so I'm going to try and make sure each one has a good amount of pickles in it. So now I'm ready to pour in the batter. So this is kind of the tricky part of determining how much to pour in. Usually overflow it. But I am going to get a little spoonful of bacon grease and kind of just line that. Grease that up a little bit so it doesn't stick. Anyways, there's probably a better way to do this, but it's the easiest route for right now. Okay, and I am going to have to do this off camera. So, be right back. So here is what it looks like right now. Did pour a little bit too much, but I'm going to close the lid and hope it doesn't overflow. Okay, so we are definitely overflowing here. But I am not going to lift this because I really want it to get crispy. So I'm going to just wait until I see the edges are no longer oozing. Okay, so this one had about 3 pickles in it, I think. And we'll see if it's ready. So it's probably been about 4 minutes. And I like mine really crispy and like almost burnt kind of. So this is actually perfect. As you can see, I overflowed it a little bit. So it did get a little runny, kind of gooey on the sides, but it does feel a little bit soggy. So what I might do is add some almond flour to my next couple pours, just because I really like that bread kind of taste. But here is the final product. Sorry, the lighting is so terrible in here. So I'm gonna add, I think, maybe 1/3 cup of almond flour to this, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. Okay, so as you can see, adding about 1/3 cup of almond flour really thickened up the batter. It's no longer runny like whatsoever. It's almost like a dough. But this is really going to give a much better, like more firm consistency with the chaffle rather than like that eggy, floppy kind of taste. So I'll chalk the first one up as an experiment and see how these guys turn out. So that one was a lot harder to get into the dash. I almost had to like scoop it in and then kind of guide it where to go. So you can tell it's like super thick. I had to kind of maneuver the pickles around because I didn't want them like stacked on each other. So we'll close this one up and see how that goes. I think I once again overflowed it, but I will clean that up later. Okay, so I charged my phone up, got the flash back on so you can see a little bit better. This is after approximately 3 minutes. So it definitely gets way crispier with the almond flour added, which I really like the taste a lot better. So it's falling apart a little bit there on the edges, but I am going to let it crisp up for probably another minute. Just kind of press down on that. Okay, so here is the comparison. This is without almond flour. You can just tell like it's floppy, it's very like egg texture-y. Definitely gonna have more of an eggy taste even. And this is with the almond flour. It's really crispy and it is not floppy. So definitely recommend adding the almond flour. It'll almost give you like basically fried pickles. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the rest of the batter. I thought I would only yield 3, but it looks like I'm gonna get 4 out of this, probably because I didn't account for the almond flour at first, which definitely thickened up the batter. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the next 2, and I will show you guys what that looks like. So this one turned out a lot different, I think, because I was getting towards the end of the batter, so there was less cheese, number 1. Number 2, it was a much thinner amount, or a much smaller amount of batter, so resulted in a much thinner chaffle, but it still got really crispy, basically cooked to perfection. So I have one more, and I'll let you guys know how that turns out, and then we'll go on to the vanilla protein. And here is the final chaffle. So it got really crispy and pops right out. Again, I had to use a smaller amount of batter, so a little bit thinner than the others, but here are all 4. I'm going to take these to work for lunch. I'll probably have 2 a day, so I will calculate the macros for you guys, and then I'll probably reheat them in the toaster at work and then dip them in ranch. I definitely don't recommend microwaving chaffles because they get soggy. I think no matter which way you cook them, they've always gotten soggy for me when I reheated them in the microwave. So those ones are done. Put those away, and then now we'll show you guys the protein chocolate chip ones. Okay, so these protein chaffles are super easy in my opinion because all I'm really using is the 2 eggs, the whey protein, and some heavy whipping cream. This I do add just for an extra kind of kick and flavor. I have a million of these. I love this brand. I put it in my coffee every morning. So if you have any of these, you can switch it up, make any flavor you like. Pumpkin spice, sugar cookie, birthday cake. They have tons and tons of flavors. It's 0 calories, so I don't even really measure it. I just kind of pour it in the batter, making sure it's not too watery. And then I am going to today use the Lily's. They do make chocolate chips now, but I got this for free with my Real Good Foods order. So I'm going to just crush it up and make my own little chocolate chips out of the bar. So I'll have to figure out how much we want to put in. And again, I'll probably end up with 4 chaffles again. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And the protein, let me open it for you guys. I'm going to have to open it off camera, but it does have a little scoop, so it's already pre-measured, so you don't need to use a measuring cup or anything like that. And I do use 1 scoop for the recipe, so it's 120 calories, so we'll divide that by 4, and then the 5 grams of carbs, so not too bad there. Okay, so I added in the scoop of the whey protein powder and then my 2 eggs. And the whey protein powder, since eggs are protein as well, it is kind of hard to get it to mix consistently. So if you have the time and you want to use a blender, that would be a great option, because this does take a while to make sure there's no clumps in it, and just make it really like a consistent batter. As you can see, it's like pretty clumpy right now, so I'm gonna have to keep stirring this for quite a while until we get that nice creamy consistency. And the brand, I believe I got this brand off Amazon, but it's BSN that makes it. I was a big fan of whey protein pre-keto, and I still lift weights, and I like to incorporate the whey protein into my diet. So you can really use any kind you like, anything that works for you. I know there are some keto specific brands out there, but you know, I'm not like super strict keto, so this one definitely works for me, and the flavor is really good. So I'm gonna add the dash of heavy cream. I'll probably do a little bit less than the pickle one, so maybe we'll say that's 1 tablespoon. Again, I don't really measure, just don't really have the time, but if you would like to measure, make sure your macros are a little bit more accurate, then feel free. More power to you. And then this is pretty good consistency. I don't know if I'm going to add almond flour or not yet, but I am going to add some of the cookie dough skinny syrup. So again, not going to measure, but just want to get the flavor incorporated in there and not make it too watery, and also to not give it like that alcohol-y kind of taste, which if you pour too much in can definitely have that effect. So the consistency's gotten a lot better. There's still some clumps. You're gonna have that unless you use a blender. That's just the way it is, but it might create like some bubbles in the chaffles. So now I am going to incorporate the Lily's bar. So I'm going to chop this up and break it up into little chips, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. So just to give you guys an idea, this is half of a Lily's bar. My bar was already broken when I opened it in half, so that was kind of convenient for me. So I did put it in this little Ziploc bag, and I'm going to smash it probably with this giant water bottle, and try and get it into little chips. So I'm gonna do that off camera and I'll show you guys the results. Okay, so that actually worked out surprisingly well. You can see some chunks are bigger than others, some are really small, so I am assuming that some of them are just going to melt in with the batter. Sorry, just trying to open the bag there. So I'm just going to pour this in, stir it up, and it's probably not going to be a whole lot once, you know, I divide this up into 4 chaffles, but still enough to give it that chocolate chip flavor, and enough that, you know, I can still taste the chocolate, and only used half the bar, so when we break that down for the macros, it won't be too bad. I'm not going to add almond flour, but you can see the consistency is like super runny, so they'll probably just cook super fast. So we just need to watch how long they're sitting on the dash, and the dash has been on for quite a while, from the pickle mess I made earlier, so they'll probably cook super fast. So here is the before of number 1. You can see it's already starting to cook underneath, so I'm going to close that for probably like a minute, and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, so here is the result after about 1 minute on the dash. I really like cooking with the whey protein because it does puff it up pretty thick. So it's almost like making a little cake, and it looks like a waffle cone or something, but you can see the chocolate chips didn't like melt everywhere like I thought they were going to, but looks super nice, and the consistency is, it's like a little bit floppy, but kind of just feels like a cake, honestly. Here is number 2, fresh off the dash. The consistency, again, it's not going to get crispy because there's no cheese in it, and it's not super firm because I didn't add any almond flour. So it is almost like the consistency of an actual regular waffle. This one, like, definitely cooked a little bit more on the bottom side, but still has like that crispy firmness on the other side as well. So there's number 2. Number 3 is cooking, and number 4 is definitely gonna have the most chocolate chips since they all kind of sank to the bottom there. So here is number 3. It did crack a little bit, so I did re-grease the dash before I put on number 4, and it came out absolutely perfect. So there we go. There is the final product, and I will calculate the macros for these: calories, fats, proteins, carbs, of course, and let you guys know. And again, I'll probably have 2 of these for lunch each day, and probably melt some butter on them. Or actually, I've just remembered I have sugar-free syrup, so I'll probably use that to eat with them. So thanks for watching, and thanks for hanging out this long. Let me know if you guys have questions about chaffles, keto, anything in general. If you guys make these, let me know how they turn out, and drop a comment, link, subscribe, whatever. I don't know what I'm putting this on, YouTube, Instagram, something, but follow me. Thanks.